Used to be enough in restaurants to just provide great food and great service. And if you nailed those things, you could be a successful restaurant owner. But what's changed is that those things are still important, but they're not enough. Social media isn't the answer, but Google SEO, if you're looking to get new customers online, is the answer. All we are told in this industry is how important it is to succeed on social media. There's two major problems with social media as a growth channel for local businesses. How are independent restaurants supposed to compete with this? They don't have menu engineers on the team. They don't have tens of billions of dollars in market cap like Domino's to use. And the answer is...
Ooh, man, I think that's a good teaser. With excitement, allow me to introduce to you today's guest, co-founder and CEO of Owner.com, Adam Guild. My man Adam, are you feeling unstoppable today?
Yes, I am, Eric.
Dude, I am psyched to have you here. And honestly, like, I'm super impressed by you as an individual. You're a fucking hustler, bro. Like, you work, you are ambitious. You're, I think, 20 years old or 21 years old when we first like made contact with each other. Like, and even then I just remember thinking to myself, you're like, I can't remember exactly how I think we like met online, or you're like, hey, I'd love to like block some time. I was like, absolutely. And you were sharing your story, and you're like, I was 18 years old when I started Owner.com, and like, we're doing all this stuff. And I was just like, holy cow. I was like, what was I doing when I was 18 years old? And that was like, I want to say 2 or more years ago. And here you are today with over 1,000 restaurants signed up to Owner.com, scaling like crazy. And it's just kind of been fun to like be like on the sidelines watching your journey, dude. And here you are, guest on the show. Psyched to have you. I can't wait to dive in, but let's get that motivational, inspirational ball rolling with a success quote or mantra. What do you got for us?
Ooh, success quote or mantra.
Yeah, bro.
I would say it's a Yoda quote from Star Wars. He says, do or do not. There is no try.
Dude, you've been doing it. You have been doing it. That's a great way to get the thing started. So take us to the beginning, man. Many people would hear that and think to themselves, this must have been his first business. Right? But that's not the case. You started as an entrepreneur earlier than that. So like, what were you doing to get you ready to become the founder or co-founder of Owner.com?
I've had a crazy life, Eric.
Yeah.
And my first entrepreneurial project actually started when I was 12 years old.
Okay.
Because I was playing a lot of Minecraft, which is a game that I'm sure a lot of viewers' kids play. And while playing Minecraft, I realized at some point that I could start my own game within the game of Minecraft. And it was this thing called a server.
Okay.
So when I realized I could start a server, I started to spend a lot of my time thinking about not only how to create my game within Minecraft, but how I could improve it and make it great so that it could grow a large community of players, and so that I can make money from the thing by selling people various advantages within that game. So over the course of the next 4 years of obsessing on my Minecraft server, I got the thing to go from zero, small hobby, just a way to have fun and make friends online, to then by the time I was 16 years old, it was reaching over 7 million players and generating hundreds of thousands of dollars in profit.
Jesus.
So much that I actually dropped out of high school halfway through 10th grade to focus on scaling that Minecraft server up, and then on building my own independent mobile games using that community of players.
Can you help me like just kind of figure out like exactly that community within the community and how you scaled that? I don't know if there might be a lesson here. I feel like there could be, and I want to go deeper into it.
For context for the viewers or listeners that don't know the Minecraft ecosystem, the simple way to think about it is that Minecraft as a game allows its players to develop their own versions of that game within the Minecraft world. So there's not preset objectives or clear good guys and bad guys in Minecraft as a game by default. Instead, what they do is they give the community of players the building blocks to create their own games.
So I am not a gamer. I will disclose that right now. So I'm kind of filling in the blanks, but it kind of sounds like Minecraft almost like created like Canva for like gaming, when they gave you all the tools to be able to create your own version within the game, right? So Were you coding? Were you actually like designing, or is it more like drag and drop like type like technology? I'm really showing my ignorance when it comes to gaming right now.
It was coding. So Minecraft is built in a language called Java.
Okay.
And its modder community also uses Java to develop the different plugins that then end up creating one of these game modes. So you're probably wondering to yourself, how does this connect back to actually starting Owner in the restaurant tech world?
So yeah, like how do you go from Minecraft to Owner.com?
I felt unfulfilled in my life because I dropped out of high school at 16 to focus on this Minecraft server. And while I was making good money, especially for a teenager, it didn't feel like I was making a positive impact through my work. It felt like I was spending all of my time, quite literally 15 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, trying to get other people at scale to waste theirs on my games so that I could make money. And I knew that there had to be some way to use the skill set that I'd built in the Minecraft server world to actually help people. I wouldn't know what that way would be, though, until I had this experience in helping my mom's business, which is actually what inspired Owner.
Okay. What was your mom's business?
My mom owns a dog grooming business.
Okay.
And when I was building that Minecraft server, I was seeing her struggle because she had a great service that people loved and they told their friends about it. But she happened to pick a quiet street for her dog grooming business. And as a result, it was really difficult for her to get new customers online. So she had tried in the first year of her business all of the different ways to advertise her dog grooming business that local business owners get sold. She had tried Yelp ads and boosting Facebook posts and all of the other tactics where these salespeople come to the business owner, in this case my mom, and tell them, we can get you a ton of new customers by advertising on our platform. But the problem was that after spending so much money with them, thousands of dollars, and being in this place where her business was losing money and needing to figure out how to acquire customers online, she wasn't seeing results.
How is she losing money?
She was losing money because as a new business owner, she had expensive rent. She was paying thousands of dollars a month in advertisements to Yelp and Facebook, direct mail, receipt ads, all these different tactics. And none of them were actually working and getting her new customers.
Yeah. And then what happens when you stop paying? Like they pull those ads, right?
They do,
Yeah.
but the ads themselves weren't working in the first place, which was a very scary place to be.
Right.
Because for her, that represented that it was maybe not possible to acquire customers online, because all they would tell her when she would buy those Facebook ads or buy those Yelp ads was, your post got 2,000 impressions, or it was seen by 500 people and it got 200 likes, but that wasn't actually translating to sales.
Right.
So this was around the time that she came to her weird, nerdy 17-year-old son for help in growing the dog grooming business, because she knew that I'd grown those Minecraft servers and games to millions of players. And at first, I didn't know how to solve this problem because I didn't understand what it was about Yelp or Facebook or any of these other tactics that she was trying that weren't actually working and getting her customers. So I started to dive into the data of when somebody would click on one of her ads on Yelp or Facebook and they would land on her website, why weren't they actually becoming a new customer? Because very few of them were. And what I ended up finding was that her website itself didn't have a high enough conversion rate because she'd set it up herself on Wix as a platform, and it wasn't designed in such a way that it made people who were looking for dog grooming services in West Hollywood want to become a customer. So I began to apply some of the things that I'd learned in the gaming world. Conversion rate optimization, which is the process of making a website drive more of its website visitors into new customers, and search engine optimization, so that she actually showed up at the top of Google when people were searching for dog grooming in West Hollywood. And in beginning to apply these principles that I'd learned from the gaming world, I saw my mom's business absolutely take off. Like, she already had a great service and a few customers that really loved her, but what she needed was more exposure to more new customers. And when she finally had that, because the website visitors she was getting were actually converting into new customers at a high enough rate, she started to succeed massively. And to connect it back to your earlier question on how it was that I transitioned from building gaming projects to then helping local businesses, it was feeling inspired that I'd finally made a positive impact on somebody's life, my mom's life. And I'd seen her go from this place where she was constantly stressed about money and terrified about potentially losing the business unless she found a way to get new customers online, to then finally having the right answer and seeing so much change, seeing her regain this excitement again for her future and this pride in the business that she'd built, and seeing her as a person evolve over the past 7 years. That was the thing I was looking for. I was looking for a way to make a positive impact using that skill set that I'd built in gaming.
That's awesome.
And I'd finally found it.
I love that, man. That's a great story. if you're listening to this, or maybe Adam, you're listening to this, like, why is Eric asking all these questions around Minecraft? That's because I think that one of the things the restaurant industry is guilty of is not getting we're in this bubble of what business looks like, the business model. We call it like the 1905 business model, right? And I think we can look at other industries and get inspiration and swipe and copy what other ways to monetize, whether it's a membership or adding different tiers. And that's what I'm hearing from you. Like, there's like the entry level, but like, do you want to add more value? Do you want to skip the line? Like, there's so many different things you can do to add value to your consumer. And I think start thinking like that, but charge for it. Like, there's no reason why you shouldn't charge for it, right? You're offering something of value. So like, I think it's important for restaurant owners to get outside of the traditional 1905 business model and look to other industries, specifically you're just creating an experience for your gamers, right? It's no different than the restaurant industry. We're also creating experiences. What were you going to say?
There are some differences, but there's a lot more parallels like you're describing in developing customer experiences. That's ultimately what it comes down to. And we've definitely taken a lot of the lessons from the gaming industry to help restaurants.
I love that. So when did you pull the trigger? When did you start to say, like, it's time to focus on these skills I learned developing games and helping my mom to serve this industry that is far more, you said 150 more restaurant owners and dog groomers. Like, when did you go all in on that?
Shortly after seeing the impact it had on my mom's life and realizing that there were so many more people like her that had created amazing experiences in restaurants. I love restaurants, and that we're being clobbered either by companies that sell them these ridiculous advertising packages that don't end up delivering anything, or clobbered by massive corporate competitors who are increasingly taking over the restaurant industry. Brands like Blaze Pizza and Chipotle and various others that are in a position where they can afford to spend millions of dollars, if not billions of dollars in some cases, figuring out the perfect ways to market themselves online, to build the perfect technology, to create addictive experiences. And independent restaurants don't have that same level of resources to invest. So my thinking was, independent restaurants are a really important part of our society. They're one of my favorite things in the world. They create magical experiences that make people feel happy at the end of really bad days, or that give people a place to connect with others in their community. And the idea of helping them finally compete on level playing ground with the large corporations and take back control from the DoorDashes and the Yelps of the world was really exciting to me. And so very quickly after seeing that change in my mom and realizing that there were millions more people like her within restaurants, did I 6 years ago focus entirely on helping restaurants succeed online by giving them the tools that they needed to develop amazing guest experiences online and acquire new customers and maximize the value of each customer.
I just recently came back from the, I'm sure you've heard of Russell Brunson.
Yes.
ClickFunnels.
Yes.
I was at the ClickFunnels 2.0 like live in Orlando a couple weeks ago, and there's this quote that he said that's been sticking with me, and it ties right along with what you just shared with us. He or she who spends the most money wins. And what were you going to say to that? Do you know where I'm going with that? Have you heard that expression?
The expression from Russell is the company that can afford to spend the most money on acquiring a customer wins.
Right. Thank you for doing it way better than I did. But the point being is, like, restaurant owners are competing, or independent operators are competing with the not to say that Domino's is a horrible company, but they have an incredible budget. How are we supposed to get the attention of these people who are all dialed into the system, right? When we don't have the marketing budget to actually do it. So I actually just finished editing Robert Chen, his episode, who he was on the show. Eat Me's is his company, and he created a solution for like meal kits. So like the point where I'm going with this is, like, there's no way we can do it by ourselves. And there's companies like Owner.com that are emerging, like Eat Me's that are emerging, that are a solution for one element of these things that level the playing field. And that's the really exciting thing that's happening right now, is the world is catching up with the big companies, and the playing field is becoming leveled. What's going through your mind? You're shaking your head.
I agree with you. There's a lot of different parts to this.
Yeah.
And I think the most important part to understand, which I did not understand going into this industry, is why social media is actually a scam for the majority of restaurant owners.
Ooh, man, I think that's a good teaser.
The reason this is so controversial is because all we are told in this industry is how important it is to succeed on social media and how we need to be posting on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook constantly.
And just every day, that's all.
Yeah, multiple times a day
Yeah,
is, in
that's
fact,
it.
what the supposed authorities on this topic tell people to do. And I thought this was the right answer because actually the way I'd grown my Minecraft servers was largely on social media. And this is a world that I know super well because not only did I build pages on social media to hundreds of thousands of followers, but the only person that I could afford to help me with social media during that period was my 10-year-old brother at the time when I was 12. And he got really good at building social media pages, not only for the Minecraft servers, but then on building his own social media pages. And my younger brother, Topper, has over 50 million followers that he's accumulated over the past 10 years.
What would your brother say if he was here? Would he agree with you that it's not the answer with somebody who's been so successful?
Yes, he would. And
But why?
the problem is that restaurant owners and myself, when I was first getting started in helping my mom's business, and then even in helping the first few restaurants, I didn't realize why it was that social media wasn't working for my mom. When I first started helping my mom's business, the first place I turned was building a large social media following because that was what I knew. And so I started building a big following on Instagram and Facebook. It got to thousands of followers on each page. My mom's dog grooming page still has over 10,000 followers from 3 months that I spent in applying all of these different growth hacking tactics to growing her social media audience. But that actually wasn't working. And the reason it wasn't working is there's two major problems with social media as a growth channel for local businesses.
Okay.
The first problem is that the customers that they're reaching don't actually have intent to buy, meaning that when you're on social media scrolling Instagram or Facebook, what you're looking for is things to entertain you. That is what you are there for. You're there to catch up with your friends, that's entertaining, or to check in with family, that's pretty entertaining, or even to follow big celebrities or meme pages to kind of escape from the moment. You're not on social media looking for the best new restaurant to try or the Mexican food to order online. That is a completely different thing. And so when you see posts in your feed that are constantly reminding you to order online from a restaurant you follow, what happens is that people aren't in the right place or at the right time for that message. And so it falls on deaf ears. Very few people convert with social media. We have data from thousands of restaurants on where their customers come from. And social media is less than 10% of all new customer acquisition online, followed by a bunch of different other interesting stuff we can get into later in the episode. So the point I'm making is that aside from the intent being wrong for social media to work as a channel, it has another major problem, which is that the people on social media that the algorithms show posts to are global in nature. That is a problem if you run a restaurant or a dog grooming business where the most customers will travel to go to your restaurant is maybe 10 miles, practically speaking, at absolute most. Most of your customers are going to be within a 5-mile radius of your restaurant. That's what all of our data suggests. And given that dynamic, if you're on Instagram or TikTok where the algorithm is showing your posts to people globally, even if those people like your content, but in a place where people have high intent to buy already and are within 5 miles of their restaurant so that they're the optimal buying profile for customers.
I think of Google immediately. Search engine optimization. I'm hungry now. I want a solution.
That's exactly right. Not only are you hungry now, but people on Google tend to search for specific menu items or specific restaurant types. So they already know that they want to buy and what they want to buy, which means that when you get in front of them, in that moment, they're significantly more likely to become your new customer because they're already searching for what you do, where you do it, and are ready to make a buying decision in that moment. Because I actually built up social media followings for a lot of our earliest customers manually because I was convinced that the reason it hadn't worked for my mom's business, her dog grooming store, was that maybe my mom's dog grooming business wasn't a particularly good thing to be posting on social media. Do people really care about dogs that have fancy haircuts? Maybe that's why it's not working. And so I figured that if I did it with restaurants, which have even more photogenic content in videos of dishes that are being made and these beautiful pictures of their dining room, that was sure to work. And so I actually built up multiple social media followings for multiple of our earliest customers to tens of thousands of followers, and yet no customers would come from it. And so that's when I realized that this wasn't a execution problem. It was the problem related to those issues with social media as a customer acquisition source for local businesses.
Almost like a systemic problem, like the system we're in, like the digital system we're in, the tools we're forced to use aren't necessarily geared towards local business.
That's right. It's a good customer acquisition channel if you have a global business, because suddenly the audience is global enough that even if they don't have the intent to buy a specific item that you're posting about, it is going to reach such a large group of people that even if a small fraction of those people have the intent to buy, that is enough to make it ROI positive. But with restaurants, given that it is a global audience and they don't have intent, it's a double whammy. And so it ends up leading to a channel that doesn't actually help much in growing.
So how did knowing this help you with your focus in scaling and growing Owner.com? Why is Owner.com unique in this sense? How did this influence it?
One of the unique things about Owner.com is that we have dashboards for our thousands of restaurants that are using the product, where we can see where new customers are coming from, what channels online are leading to website visitors that actually place online orders or that make reservations or that do any of the other actions that would tell us. The reason it's the answer is because, as we described earlier, people, when they're searching for restaurants on Google, are being showed results that are near them. So it's local rather than global in nature. And when they're in that state of mind, when they're searching for best Thai food in Los Altos, or we're currently in one of our customers' restaurants, Sumo Sushi, best sushi in Los Altos, Sumo Sushi's coming up at the top. And they're coming up at the top for customers that have already decided that they want to buy sushi and that they want to buy sushi in Los Altos. And so they're just looking for the best option. And so if we can get in front of them, then the conversion rate for each impression ends up being so much higher that even a smaller amount of people seeing the marketing ends up resulting in way more sales. Across the board, we see that Google is the top acquisition channel for restaurants for a shocking number of new customers. Like over 80% of total new customers to restaurants are coming through Google.
What about Facebook?
Facebook has the same problem of social media, where no intent and global in nature.
Because I was just thinking because of the nature of being able to get the information about your guests to get in front of them. But again, it's not local.
Right. And to be fair, there are Facebook ads which allow you to locally target. You can tell Facebook, only show this to people within 5 miles of my restaurant. But the problem there is that the ads are still not lining up with the intent that somebody has on social media, which is being intended to entertain, to escape, to catch up with friends and family. They're not there to see pictures of a random restaurant. And so when they see that message, it falls on deaf ears or maybe blind eyes. That is more realistically the metaphor. But there is a way to use social media that we've seen be wildly effective and is very underutilized by restaurants, rather than trying to use it to get completely new customers and completely new exposure. What you do is you set up what's called a retargeting campaign. A retargeting campaign allows you to target people that have already visited your existing website and that have already started building an online order, but for whatever reason didn't actually complete that online order. So it's like the equivalent of cart abandonment emails, but using Facebook ads.
And this is with geotagging, right? Where they land, there's something that follows them around the internet, right?
Yes, it's with a cookie. That's the technology.
Okay, thank you.
And that cookie, after they land on your website, then follows them around the internet. And then when they visit Facebook, Facebook knows, hey, this person has actually visited Sumo Sushi's website in the past and been to their online ordering page and actually started building an online order. And so then you can tell Facebook, for anybody that's visited our website, then visited our online ordering page, and then started building an online order but didn't complete it, show them this advertisement. And what's so powerful about this is that this group of people is a very targeted group that have already visited the website, decided to start building an online order, and then for whatever reason didn't place that order. Typically it's because they got distracted. Somebody called their phone at the same time and then they forgot to complete it. And so then if you can get in front of them and remind them, hey, you didn't complete that online order, here's 5% off our online ordering system. It's just enough to get them to go back to the online ordering system and complete it. And so the conversion on these people is bananas. We often see 10-to-1 ROI for those Facebook ads. The other major reason is that it's super cheap to do on the Facebook ads platform, because Facebook charges what's called CPM, cost per 1,000 impressions. And what's great about this is that there's not thousands of people to be showing these ads to. It's maybe a few hundred people a month if you're a very high volume restaurant that visit your website, then visit your online ordering, and then don't place an online order with you. And so if you tell Facebook, just get in front of these few hundred people a month, a few times, it ends up being like less than $100 a month to drive dozens of orders from people that would have ordered from the website but didn't get a chance to complete it.
So it's like, it's the 80-20 rule. Like, you know, that 20%. Like, because they're coming to you. So you just hit them with all of your ad spend.
Exactly. If you apply the 80-20 principle to 80-20, it ends up being the 96-4 rule, where 4% of people end up potentially making 96% of the ad impact. That is what's happening here, where it's like a very small group of people that went through all those steps already, but didn't complete the order, that if you can just get in front of them at that point when they have it.
And you know exactly who they are.
Yes, and Facebook does too, and you can tell it everything from only show these ads to people within 2 weeks of them doing this action and get very specific. This has nothing to do with my company, by the way. This is a completely different way to acquire customers, but it's worth sharing because it's a great tactic.
Well, I was curious because I'm pulling up Owner.com, and I do want to get into what is Owner.com today, but it sounds like, just from listening to you, you're a student of the world of marketing. You're constantly learning. You're constantly trying to break the system, challenge the status quo. You have a lot of the Restaurant Unstoppable core values, my friend. I have to point this out. Like, I see a lot of your values of what I'm trying to do here at Restaurant Unstoppable, but it's not necessarily about like you're not parroting, you're not echoing what's going on out there. You're testing things and you're breaking things, and you're figuring out what works, and you're putting your energy into the things that are actually getting an ROI.
Yep.
Safe to say that's what I'm pulling from you from this point. So when we look at Owner.com today, I'm on your website right now. You go to the products tab. It looks like you kind of break your product solutions into 3 groups: automatic marketing, online ordering, branding.
Yes.
So like, kind of take us to the evolution of how you got there. And then I would like to kind of like drill down on those 3 verticals as to what we mean by automatic marketing, online ordering, and branding. So how did you get to that stack of like solutions, I guess?
To take a step back, it's worth understanding why it is that Owner exists, which is to give restaurant owners the tools that they need to succeed online in a simple all-in-one platform. So anything that a restaurant needs to succeed online, we provide through our platform to make it easy. That includes, like you said, a website builder, a marketing automation platform, which includes email and text message marketing, a loyalty system, recruiting tools to drive more job applications, branding tools, and anything else that is necessary for being a successful restaurant in 2023. Because what's changed in our world over the past 5 years is that it used to be enough in restaurants to just provide great food and great service. And if you nailed those things, you could be a successful restaurant owner because word of mouth would spread, people would talk about how great your restaurant is, and that would get you a lot of customers over time. But what's changed is that those things are still important, but they're not enough because so much of the guest experience has come online. People are discovering restaurants online using Google and Yelp, and then they're comparing reviews across those different platforms. So it's really important to have a great online reputation. And then they're clicking into the website to judge a restaurant and make an evaluation about whether it's going to be a good fit for their needs. And then even the way they interact with that restaurant and buy from that restaurant, whether it's placing an online order or making a reservation, is now happening online. So as the guest experience is shifting online, the question that we've been trying to answer is how do we make it as great as possible to do directly from the restaurant rather than having to resort to third-party apps to order online from a restaurant like DoorDash, Uber Eats, or third-party apps to make reservations like OpenTable, or to place catering orders like Easy Cater. We want to create such a great experience online for that restaurant directly that their customers end up just choosing to order from their website or their branded mobile app rather than DoorDash, Uber Eats, and give them the right tools to achieve that.
Keep the industry in the industry.
Yes, exactly.
Not third party. I mean, that's one of the things. So, I mean, it's just interesting because I think the restaurant industry for the longest time was just so head down, doing the thing, building customer relationships, being within their four walls, focusing on those, human elements. And like you said, over time, we've reached this point where you can do all the things in your four walls better than anybody else. And that still might be enough if you had that reputation follow you into the 21st century, right? Or like into 2020s. But if you're opening today and you don't have those relationships established, how do you get in front of people, right? It's not enough just to do four walls marketing anymore. And I hate that that's fucking true. Part of my language. I hate that that's true. But there's an inconvenient truth to that.
Yes.
And I mean, I don't, what's going through your mind as I'm saying this?
Went through my mind as you said that was this customer we have, Antoinette, the owner of Ottavio's Italian restaurant, because her business has been around for over 50 years and she has a very big base of regular customers. And those customers, by the way, are in a community called Lakeside, California, which is mostly retirees. So if there was anybody that was not needing to provide a great online experience, I figured it would be Antoinette because she had such a big base of regulars. Her customers tended to be older in nature. And what I was surprised about is that when she came to me, she said that her sales were plateauing and she wasn't able to successfully drive people to order from her website rather than DoorDash or Uber Eats. So her same store sales in the four walls were basically staying the same, and she wanted to grow them online, but she had online ordering through her website with her point of sale company, and yet nobody was using it. They were instead using DoorDash or Uber Eats to order from her restaurant online. And what she said to me was that she needed to create an experience that would help her attract new customers so that she could continue to grow this business. She didn't want to be in it to just stay the same forever. She wanted to continue to grow the restaurant, which she had capacity in her kitchen to do. And I figured that if there would be anybody that would be immune to this trend of needing to provide a really great online experience, it would be Antoinette, because she already has such a cult following, amazing reviews. And the only way that she could grow is still providing a great online experience for a few different surprising reasons.
Got it. So I want to make sure we get into like how you landed on these solutions, because just from talking to you, I can tell you're very intentional. Like you're not going to put your energy into something that you don't think is worth the ROI, right?
Yes.
So the list, if I'm looking at these three buckets, right? Automatic marketing, online ordering, branding. Let's just start with the automatic marketing. Or is there a better place you'd rather start? Would you rather focus on the online ordering first? Let's focus on marketing, automatic marketing.
Okay.
Within that bucket, you have customer management, email marketing, text message marketing, push notification. Why are those, in your opinion, the the four areas? Customer management, email marketing, text marketing, push notifications. Why is that where the magic is? I think there's probably some overlap too if we're going to be going through this.
We've tested every way that a restaurant can increase sales, where we've run experiments, thousands of them, with every possible way, including direct mail, including receipt ads, including posters and flyers for walls marketing within the restaurant. And we developed our platform around the ways that across the board we're driving significantly more sales. So I would say that automatic marketing is one of the most underrated in the industry, because it's so powerful to be able to stay top of mind with people after they leave the four walls of a restaurant. We all have had that experience before where we love a restaurant. It's a restaurant that we often go to and always have great experiences in. And for whatever reason, after leaving that restaurant one day, it doesn't occur to us to go to it again. We literally just forget about how great that restaurant is until at some point we see something that reminds us of that restaurant and then start going to it again or ordering from it again. It's not because we hate the restaurant. It's not because they did something wrong. It's just because people are so bombarded in 2023 by the various different ways to do life. There's all these distractions constantly, and sometimes people just forget about great experiences. So what's powerful about automatic marketing is that after a guest has ordered from a restaurant, it enables that restaurant to stay in touch with that guest and stay top of mind so that this happens way less frequently, and so that they are able to therefore make more money from each guest relationship.
So when you hear, I think on surface level, when you hear things like automatic marketing, it feels like that's so shallow, right? It's just like this, that's not four walls marketing. That's not building a relationship with somebody. That's not like having to me, it just doesn't sound impactful. But what I'm hearing to you when I guess where I'm going with this, like at what point do you automate things versus you really put time and energy into polishing and grooming a relationship? So where's that line? At what point do you lean into the automation where it makes sense without sacrificing the human element? Is it when they leave?
I don't think they have to be mutually exclusive, which means that it's possible to both deepen the guest relationship and automate that depth. It's still really important for restaurants to have personal relationships with guests when they're in the dining room, to make them feel special with table touches and to get to know their names and their families. That is still by far the most powerful thing you can do from a marketing perspective, because it creates word of mouth and it creates lifelong customers. But the problem is that because so much of the guest experience is shifting online, that same tactic of going to every table manually doesn't translate to this new way that restaurants are having to operate.
Right.
And so the way you can translate it is through building automatic marketing campaigns that provide that same connection to the guest automatically. What that looks like is campaigns that tell the customer, the restaurant owner's story. This is one of the most effective things that we've seen that we didn't really expect. But when a restaurant owner can share their story of how they actually started the restaurant, how they worked for years in other people's restaurants and saved up enough money to bring to life this dream that they had since they were growing up in India of getting to have a restaurant in the United States where they could share their grandmother's recipes with the broader world, which is the story of one of our restaurant owners, Rahul. When his customers knew this story and knew his passion for what he was doing, they became extremely loyal to him. And the way he was able to get this message across to them was by creating his automatic marketing with email and text message marketing to tell people this story one email at a time in a way that gives people a deeper connection to the restaurant beyond just their food. It's about what the food represents. It's about supporting Rahul as a person, this person that they've gotten to know as the owner of the restaurant, but didn't know the backstory of.
Right. We're hardwired as humans to understand and resonate with stories. It's baked into us. It's part of our DNA. What about the person listening to this right now and go,
that we hear from restaurant owners, which is that they didn't get into this business to have to be email marketers or to have to be copywriters or novelists in writing stories. And I totally see that perspective. I said that I didn't want to make this an owner commercial, but this is actually one of the reasons why we've designed our onboarding process in the way that we have. Where over a quick phone call, when we onboard a new customer, we ask people, tell us about how you started the restaurant. Tell us about what inspires you to own this place. Tell us about your favorite things of this. And then we use all these different parts of a restaurant owner's story to create the perfect campaign that they then are able to approve and send out to their customers when they feel it's ready, that helps them communicate their story, but in a way that doesn't require a huge amount of work.
Right.
We're increasingly building AI into our platform as well, where the restaurant owner is able to select the different parts of their story and maybe write a sentence on it. And then we've trained our AI to take all those different elements and then perfectly communicate them in an email that the restaurant owner can then edit. And it can also generate new versions of this email.
Right. Where I was going with this, and I was making the assumption, I didn't know this for sure, but there's templates. You don't, like, what you do is you take the uniqueness of your story and you plug it into the template. And you don't want to sound like everyone else's story. You want it to be unique, but you don't have to write it from scratch. There's tools and resources there to take the elements of you that are uniquely you and you put it into the system. That's
a good way to think about it. All effective stories follow the same hero's journey format. And like you said, it's a template that they can plug their unique individual parts into, but as long as it follows that same structure, it is a story that is designed for the human brain to find entertaining.
Yeah. So one of the things like that I'm kind of that I picked up on and just being aware of Owner.com and just doing a little bit of research, and it kind of made me proud, honestly, because it kind of echoed my sentiments that if I'm prioritizing the level of importance for marketing, at the top for me, it's 4 walls marketing. Beyond that, it's direct mail marketing. And beyond that,
to increase sales in the restaurant, I would prioritize it. Number 1, Google. Number 2, automatic marketing. Number 3, direct mail marketing. Number 4, 4 walls marketing.
Okay. We're pretty aligned. I mean, I think you clearly know way more about marketing than I do, but for the most part, social media, where I'm going with this, is on the bottom of that list.
Yep.
but customer management marketing is a term I'm not that familiar with. What does that even mean?
In every other industry, there's this concept of customer relationship management software, which means software that shows you every customer that you have, what their last order was with you, what the details are of that customer, their name, their email, their phone number, their order preferences, and it's all in one simple place that you can check at any time. But because restaurants have had to cobble together so many different tools for every different part of the customer journey, where they use a separate tool for some online orders versus others. Sometimes it gets called in over the phone. Other times it comes in through the POS. Because it's such a disparate set of touch points, restaurants haven't historically been able to have that simple place to see all of the customer data and know how each customer relationship is doing, see the value of each customer that it's driven, and all these other insights. So to us, customer management is having that simple place where you can see every single customer that you have, what the value of each is, when each last ordered, filter this in case you want to pull specific sets of customers, and then automate campaigns to those customers, emails and text message marketing, depending on the goals that you want to achieve, so that you're able to ultimately maximize the value of each of your customers. And the customers are so valuable, so much more valuable than net new customers, because these are already people that know, like, and trust your restaurant.
I mean, it makes sense that it's the first thing on your list under automatic marketing, because it's essentially what you're sharing with me. It's data mining. It's the information you have on your guests. But the more you know about your guests, the more you can tailor the message to fit their unique need.
Exactly.
And then you can start creating multiple different avatars of, like, oh, in this bucket we have the vegans. In this bucket we have the people who love chicken fingers. In this bucket we have the whatever infinity avatar. And then you can start tailoring unique campaigns to those subcategories.
That's exactly right. One of our campaigns, for example, enables you to promote new dishes by targeting the people who have ordered dishes that are similar to it. So let's say that I've already been a fan of the chicken Parmesan, and that indicates that I really like Parmesan dishes. Maybe an Italian restaurant comes out with veal Parmesan, and they want to promote that to the people that like chicken Parmesan, because it's another dish that they can order for dinner. So it satisfies another craving that they might have. It's similar to what they already liked. And so they're much more likely to buy that. And so it's a good way to tell those people that like chicken parm, hey, we have veal parm now too.
And veal parm's more expensive.
Yes, exactly. So higher margin.
Upselling. Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. So when you sign up with Owner.com, you get the website, you get a branded app, and what do you mean by dashboard?
The dashboard is the control panel that you get to use to make changes to or add content to any different part of these tools. So if you want to update a web page, say, you would do that within the dashboard.
So if there isn't an automated push from your POS to your digital front, you can do it manually through the dashboard.
Yep.
Got it. So talk to us about websites. What makes an Owner.com website unique?
Most website builders are built to give the user of that website builder complete flexibility in how to design that website, where you basically start from scratch, and then you, the user, decide what first section you want to have and what headline should be on that first section and what call to action to use. And then you have to design the second section and figure out all the content, and then the third section. And this seems like it would be the right answer for designing a website builder until you realize that restaurant owners, at least the ones that use our product, don't care as much about customizing every little part of their website. What they care about is finding the way to predictably and provably increase sales. And if you just want to increase sales, it turns out that the right answer isn't to infinitely customize your website from scratch every time, because what happens then is that you don't design the type of experience which is going to lead to the most traffic from Google, or that's going to lead to the most people that visit the website converting into new customers. So that's where our website builder is different. We do offer customizability, so you can change any text that you disagree with, or change the logo, or add in pictures that complement your restaurant, but it's designed using a proven recipe, which is going to increase sales. It is engineered for conversion rate, for search engine optimization, and as a result, it follows a proven structure to achieve those results, and it starts there. So it doesn't start from scratch. Our websites actually look quite similar to each other, which to some people is a negative, but to us, the reason they look similar is because we've run thousands of tests at this point across thousands of restaurants, and we know what it is that's going to drive sales.
Listen to the gamer.
Exactly. This is something I learned in the gaming industry. That's exactly right.
Yeah. The hours and hours of A and B testing, I'm sure.
Thousands.
Yeah. I think we can move to branded apps because I actually know the answer to this next thing, but I mean, I'll just get into it. I for the longest time thought that branded apps were unnecessary. That if you had a good enough website that it achieves, especially if it's like, what's the word, responsive website, like as long as it looks different on your phone, like all these other things, like do you really need a branded app? And I think you shared the same sentiment at one point along your journey. But
yes, when we first spoke, I thought this was the case. I was pretty convinced. I thought there's no way that for an independent restaurant, a hole-in-the-wall taqueria or Italian restaurant, that somebody would want to download a branded app. And I could not have been more wrong about that.
Why?
So I didn't realize why until that customer that I mentioned earlier, Antoinette, started talking to me about branded apps, which she would say every week. I have hundreds of customers that have my personal cell phone number, so they just hit me up all the time about different ideas they have for the product. And this one I ignored for a while because I had that same feeling that you had, that like, this is probably a waste of time. But what she'd say to me every
shiny
week.
Object.
Yeah, exactly. I thought it was a shiny object. I didn't think like this was going to be a practical solution for restaurant owners. And what she would say is anytime she went into the city of San Diego, she could use the Starbucks app to order her coffee, and it was so easy because she didn't have to sign in. She didn't have to visit a website. She didn't have to find the website in the first place. All she had to do was click the Starbucks icon from her home screen. She'd already be signed in, and within 30 seconds, she could have her go-to order placed. And while she was describing this, I'm like, yes, but Starbucks has so many locations. That's one of the reasons why it's valuable. Or yes, but Starbucks can afford to spend literally hundreds of millions of dollars in developing their technology and marketing, and so that's why it's so valuable. But for Ottavio's Italian restaurant, which is the name of her concept, in Lakeside, California, will people really download an app? And I didn't think so for a year of her telling me this. But after a year of being stupid and stubborn, I decided, you know what? She's so passionate about this, and I've heard so many different restaurant owners ask for an app that we're going to build it, and we're going to let the numbers tell us whether this is a good idea. It's probably not going to be, but the numbers will speak for themselves. And the numbers did speak for themselves. It was fucking crazy.
Can you share some of those numbers?
Yes. So we launched this in Antoinette's restaurant, not expecting much. We thought that maybe 10%, if it was a real success, of her customers would download this thing within 90 days. And our hope was that maybe that 10% would order with enough frequency that the investment of actually building out an app for this restaurant would be worth it. And so then we launched the app without any table tents, no incentive, no promotion. The only promotion for the app was when you visited the website and you scroll to hit online order, it would say, first, do you want to order from our app or do you want to order from our online website? And what was shocking is that over 50% of her customers within 30 days had downloaded her app and were using it to repeatedly order from her online rather than going through the website. It started to represent tens of thousands of dollars in sales in 30 days' time. And what was crazier is when we followed those people that had downloaded the app and measured how they were engaging as customers versus the typical customers, the people that had downloaded the app were ordering at twice the frequency and with a higher transaction size.
That was my question so you said that there was this amount of sales that was generated through the app, but was the overall amount of sales higher?
Significantly higher.
Okay.
In a crazy way, because what I ended up realizing was that Antoinette had a point, that it's so much easier to order from an app that is on your home screen, that people do it more frequently because there's less of a hassle involved mentally of, I have to find the website first and then click onto the website from Google, and then on the website, find the order now button. And then every time log in with a username and password. Does anybody remember their username and password for that Italian restaurant they order from once every 2 weeks? No. And so that's a headache. Oh, fuck, I've got to reset the password. And there's all these different steps involved where you end up spending over 5 minutes of time to place the go-to order that you usually go to. And what's different about having a branded app is, first of all, there's no need to find it. In fact, the icon on a guest's home screen ends up being one of the most valuable places of real estate that a restaurant can have, because anytime they're opening their phone, they're seeing an icon of that restaurant and the restaurant's name. And so it's like, oh, reminder, I love Otavio's. Maybe I should order from there tonight. And then when they click into the Otavio's app, if they decide they want to order there, they're already signed in. So it greets them by name. There's no need to go through username and password. It already knows all of their past orders. So within 30 seconds, they can click order again, their past order, click on the checkout button. It's already got all their details stored and be through the entire process. I didn't understand this when we first built Antoinette's app, but now I've seen restaurants that start with one location, like Talkin' Tacos started with us with one location and got the app. Now they're at 10 locations over the course of 3 years. And part of the way they were able to grow to so many locations so quickly is they had all of the app data on where their customers were, and they could tell franchisees, hey, we've already got thousands of people that have our app installed in the South Florida region. So these people, when we open multiple locations, will be able to order from us when they're in those different areas of South Florida. And that is a really compelling and differentiated proposition to franchisees or to private equity investors that invest in restaurants, because it basically means that you have built-in customers that you can track the location of. That's another interesting thing about apps. They offer location tracking built in on the device, and so you can see where customers are and then serve them different push notifications when they're passing by your locations.
Yeah, that's powerful. We've covered a lot so far, man. I'm pretty sure we fully unpackaged automatic marketing, which covered the customer management, email marketing, text marketing, and push notifications, which is tied to the branding with the branded app and the website and the dashboard. Are we safe to move on to the third bucket we really haven't dove into yet, which is online ordering?
You tell me, whatever you think would be most valuable to the listener.
I feel like we unpackaged a lot, and I still want to talk about the future. And you're a nerd. I can tell you're a nerd, and I mean that in the most respectful way possible. Like, you love this stuff, and
Yep.
I need more nerds in my life, man. So like, I want to talk about the future of the evolution of where the industry is going in terms of technology, specifically around marketing. So I want to make sure we cover that. So getting into online ordering, why is that a whole separate like bucket? Why'd you guys keep that separate in terms of your offering?
We have whole teams focused on that because there's so many different parts to creating a magical online ordering experience. And a huge problem that restaurant owners come to us with is that they already have online ordering generally through their POS, often Toast. And the issue that they run into is that for guests, it doesn't make sense why they should order from that restaurant directly rather than ordering from DoorDash or Uber Eats. So what happens is that more and more guests order from DoorDash and Uber Eats. They lose more and more of their profit margin to those third-party delivery apps, as well as all the customer relationships. And restaurant owners are looking for a way to get those people back to ordering directly from them so that they can save those thousands of dollars in fees and save all of that customer data. And the only way that those customers are going to come back to ordering directly from that restaurant is if the restaurant ordering experience is even better for the guest, because 90% of people don't actually care what the best route is for supporting local business. They're always just optimizing for what's going to be most convenient and best value for themselves. And so when you're competing with those experiences, which provide such great convenience and such great value, the question is, how do you provide better convenience and better value through your experience?
Right.
And that is why we have people dedicated to online ordering to constantly obsess over that problem and create a technology which makes it so that ordering from that restaurant is actually better for the guest, therefore they do.
How does a small mom and pop compete with that level of detailed habit formation and owning the attention of the guest and the habits, these routines, these rituals around eating, right? It seems like if we aren't getting the data, how are we ever going to be able to, if we don't have the resources to tweak these things? So I love that you're putting all this energy into that, because it's like the thing, like how are we supposed to compete? You know?
Exactly.
Like the small mom and pop cannot, unless they have a partner, a technology partner, in my opinion.
I agree with that, but the right answer is actually in looking at what the large restaurant corporations have done, because a lot of the large restaurant corporations have successfully gotten out of this trap of being dependent on the third-party delivery apps.
What have they done?
Domino's would be a great example of this, because over 90% of their online orders are coming through their website. They are listed on DoorDash to get new customers from, but then once they acquire that customer, they quickly get them to order from their app. And what they've done is they've designed an experience that actually wins on those factors that the guest selfishly
What's
compares
in it for
about.
me?
what's in it for me? What is the easiest, most high value way? So there's a few different parts to that. From an ease standpoint, the Domino's app is wonderful. There's a reason it has millions of positive reviews on the App Store. It makes it ridiculously simple to, within 30 seconds, open the app, like you said, populate what you typically order, get through the checkout process. And it's also doing a lot of great things for Domino's business, but we'll get into those later because we're just focusing on the guest experience for now. So not only is it easier to order from Domino's with the Domino's app, because you don't have to actually go through the step of selecting Domino's, you just tap in the app. But more importantly, to most Americans, it's better value. The Domino's app has a loyalty system built in, which allows them to give people free items every few transactions. And those free items end up making it a more exciting experience for the guest because they say, oh my gosh, I'm getting the $7 cheese sticks for free or the $5 lava cake for free. Every 2 or 3 orders with Domino's, free stuff is better than no free stuff. Therefore, the Domino's app is a much better experience for me. And what's so smart about this from a business perspective is the way the numbers work for Domino's. What they've done is they've designed their loyalty program to give away the high profit margin, low food cost items. These tend to be appetizers, beverages, and desserts. And so while those cheese sticks might be listed on the menu for $7, in reality, they have a food cost of 30 cents because it's fried cheese.
And that's how they make their pizza so affordable.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. But when they design their loyalty system around giving away those high profit margin, low food cost items, the guest feels like, oh my gosh, I'm getting $7 in free value every 2 orders. This is amazing. But to the restaurant, it only has a 35-cent food cost or whatever it might be.
Next generation menu engineering.
Yes. And it is menu engineering for the purpose of creating a really awesome guest experience, which is necessary for getting people to order directly from that restaurant. Right. And so then your question earlier was, how are independent restaurants supposed to compete with this? They don't have menu engineers on the team. They don't have the hundreds of millions of dollars that Domino's spent in developing their app and various other technologies.
Coders.
They don't have tens of billions of dollars in market cap like Domino's to use. And the answer is, that is what we spend all of our time at Owner thinking about. We literally look at Domino's and we look at Starbucks and we look at all of the other restaurant brands that are crushing it online, and we figure out what they all have in common. And then we use those things as cheat codes for independent restaurants to use within our platform. We begin actually switching every feature to match what the large restaurant corporations are figuring out, so that all of the mom and pop restaurants, the independents, have those same superpowers. So that loyalty program that I described Domino's having, that is now exactly what our loyalty program looks like. The app, that is what our app was modeled off of. And there's all these different best practices that we take inspiration from so that we're able to copy what works for the large guys and give it to the people that don't have hundreds of millions of dollars to spend.
Smart upselling. How is that baked in? I know it's in the web browser, but I'm assuming it's also in the app.
Yes. So smart upselling is the ability, completely copied from the best practices of Domino's and Sweetgreen and all these other brands that are great at it, the ability to suggest the perfect complement to a dish at the right part of the ordering journey. So what that looks like is, let's say I'm ordering a sushi roll from this restaurant that we're in right now, a long-term customer, Sumo Sushi. And I'm adding my typical California rolls to the cart. Smart upselling would then be showing me a little pop-up as I'm adding that item saying, guests who love our California rolls also love these items. And then it could suggest the green tea, if I haven't ordered that in the past, because that's a pretty commonly ordered beverage that's high margin for the restaurant. It will suggest the very addictive wontons that they make here that often get paired with the California roll. They're delicious. And it would suggest a dessert probably, because it knows we're ordering an entree. So it would suggest maybe the chocolate cake to go along with that California roll or the green tea ice cream. And through that process of suggesting items to guests when they're ordering items that it is relevant to, we're able to bump the average transaction size, which increases sales. But most importantly, we're able to add items to the order, which are extremely high margin and low food cost.
Yeah.
I described what the upselling part is. The smart in smart upselling is having technology that learns from what guests do and notices patterns.
Yeah.
After we get thousands of orders for a restaurant, we can start to notice, hey, when people order the chicken teriyaki, they tend to also order the green tea ice cream.
Extra meat or whatever. Right.
Right. Or any other modifier that could go well with that dish. And then it prioritizes those things. It also gives the restaurant owner, if they have a new dish that they want to promote as an upsell, like a new dessert or a new appetizer, they can select promote via upsell, and it'll factor that into the algorithm that is showing the guests the most relevant recommendation so that they get more exposure on that new dish and get to quickly determine whether that new dish is going to be a good seller for them or not.
How is Owner.com evolving to be ready for the future?
We are evolving to be ready for the future by paying very close attention to what the guest experience looks like at the most efficient restaurant corporations. So we look at Chick-fil-A, we look at Domino's, we look at Cava, we look at Sweetgreen, these restaurant brands that are really efficient and really dialed in and crushing it in the publicly traded market, so we can actually see the numbers behind them. And we're trying to ask ourselves this question of what are these restaurant brands doing really well to adapt to this increasingly online world that we could build into our platform and give to the other 50% of the restaurant industry, the independent restaurant owners. That is where the answers are, because these companies are already spending billions of dollars in adapting their restaurants to the latest technology and the latest marketing. So we don't have to spend the same billions of dollars to figure it out. We just have to watch them carefully and then build what they do and make it accessible to the rest of the industry.
Yeah. Adam, thank you so much for taking the time to join us, to share your story, to share your immense amount of knowledge on this subject. And thank you for your support. There is no questioning. You are unstoppable.
I appreciate you saying that, Eric. And thank you to anybody who took the time to listen to this episode. I hope you found it valuable.
Cheers.